Hola Kathy, bienvenido al seminario. Kathy, ¿cómo fue el proceso de implementación de Amor y Lógica en su escuela PVCP? ¿Cuáles actores participaron?
Well, Love and Logic came to our school because two teachers attended a workshop on the Love and Logic principles, and they felt this was something our school would benefit from. So they brought it back and shared it with our principal, and she investigated, she researched it, and decided that she wanted more information. So she attended an administrators conference and realized that Love and Logic had the two factors that we'd been looking for at our school. We wanted a discipline program for the classroom, but we also wanted a discipline program for our parents. And we wanted the two to be compatible. And so we found Love and Logic to have both of those components, and so that met our criteria. And then we decided to introduce it to the teachers. And so the teachers attended an overview of the entire program, and there was quite a discussion about bringing this program to our school. And almost everyone was in favor, so we set up the program for 1 year of training the teachers. We did meetings once a month. We did several meetings on one particular day, and eventually 100% of the teachers were trained. In the course of the 2 years, the first 2 years, the 100% of teachers were trained and 50% of the parents were trained in a parenting class, the parenting portion of Love and Logic. Now, not every teacher was comfortable with all of the Love and Logic principles, but they found a couple they could use. And so they started implementing a couple of the skills in their classrooms and found them to work very successfully. The parents also noticed that the teachers had these new skills, and the parents became interested in Love and Logic. And so we have continued to meet constantly. Teachers meet and discuss Love and Logic principles and how they work in our classroom. People are trying more of the skills, and the parents are also meeting and discussing with teachers about how this is used in the classroom and how it can be used at home. And we're just constantly reviewing our skills.
Oh, qué maravilla. Algo que no entendí. ¿Hace cuántos años que se usa Amor y Lógica en PVCP y cuánto tiempo tardó en dar resultados?
Well, we've used Love and Logic for over 6 years. And the first year, our discipline problems decreased dramatically, and we were all very pleasantly surprised.
¿Cómo es la actitud? Mencionaste los padres. ¿Cómo es en general la actitud de los padres de PVCP frente a Amor y Lógica? Los padres.
Most of them like what they see happening in the classrooms, and they see how the teacher is effective in the discipline with the child, and they want to learn how to use these skills at home. And so the parents have become more supportive of the teachers, especially the parents who attend the parenting classes that we offer on Love and Logic. And also, parents who've tried other programs without success, they have found, we have found that they are very interested in Love and Logic. Currently, I am teaching a 6-week Love and Logic parenting class. I have 28 families represented, The interesting thing is, I have half of the parents are parents of infants to preschool, kindergarten age, and the other half are parents of fifth graders on up through high school. So I have some teenage parents there asking questions, and I thought that was interesting because they are still looking for solutions to their discipline program that they're using at home, and they haven't been successful. So they're taking a look at Love and Logic. When a parent attends a class, they talk about it all the time, and they encourage other parents to come because they found that there are some very key principles in Love and Logic that help in their family discipline.
Interesante. Al final, el programa comienza en la sala de clase. Le pregunto, ¿cómo es su orientación emocional en la sala de clase ahora que está usando Amor y Lógica?
Okay. I don't worry about what I'm going to do if a student creates a problem. I have skills that I can rely upon, and I turn the problem back to the child, and I ask the child to fix the problem that they've created, and they become more responsible for their behavior. They have to do more thinking about the problem they created. They actually think more than I do. And that's very fun because we're teaching real life skills here. How to solve a problem you have created. I know that my discipline is based on Love and Logic principles. My principal understands this, and she supports me when the parents are coming and asking questions about how this discipline is working. And they are encouraged to trust my actions because of the skills that I have.
Excelente, excelente. Finalmente una pregunta. ¿Tiene alguna evidencia concreta que Amor y Lógica ha afectado la cultura de PVCP? Algo concreto que podemos llevar.
Well, our very first year, detentions dropped 73%. That means fewer students were involved in after-school detention. A detention is based on a misbehavior. The child will come to a teacher's classroom and sit quietly, doing nothing. That's what detention used to look like.
Oh, okay.
And now, instead of that, we are asking students to solve these problems that they create. They have to do the thinking about, well, how do I fix this? And they're less likely to create a problem again if they know they have a responsibility to fix the problem. And they don't get by with just sitting quietly. It's active. They have to participate in the solution to the problem. So as a result, suspensions have decreased. Expulsions are down. We might have had 1 or 2 a year. Sometimes we have none in a school year. Our students are figuring out how to solve their problems. And as a teacher, I have more fun teaching in my classroom because it used to be that discipline was something I would really dread. And it took away from my teaching, and I wasn't sure if I was handling it correctly. So with my Love and Logic skills, I can always be a very pleasant person in my classroom, and the child who creates the problem has to fix it. And I don't get upset because I know the road to wisdom is paved with mistakes. And I don't discourage my students from making mistakes. I encourage them to try out their decision making. If it doesn't work, then we come up with other ideas, and we are developing skills. So I simply ask, what are you going to do to fix the problem you created?
Parece que tiene más tiempo para enseñar por tratar con los alumnos con amor y lógica. Esta es la meta, ¿no es cierto? This is the goal. Isn't that right? To have more time to teach?
Yes, definitely more time to teach. Let me explain how I handled a discipline problem with one of my 8th graders. At that time I was teaching in the computer lab, and I had an 8th grader that acted very disrespectfully. And it was my first year of trying my love and logic skills. It was also my very first month of being a computer teacher, and so I wasn't sure how I was going to handle it. So the young man said something very disrespectful to me, and I walked away, and he left the classroom at the end of the class period. And what I chose to do was what Love and Logic calls delay the consequence. I called his parents. I had a meeting with his mother and father. We set up a Love and Logic strategic plan called Energy Drain. One of my favorite things to help a student solve a problem is using Energy Drain. And so the next day, after meeting with the parents, I stepped into the young man's classroom at the end of the class day and just motioned for him, come on over and see me. And so the young man came over to see me. I invited him to the computer lab, and in the lab, in private, I explained to him that I was very upset by his disrespectful remarks to me. And I explained to him that I spent a lot of time wondering why a student would be so disrespectful. And I explained that that time that I spent wondering was the time I had set aside to tie up all the cords for 24 computers in a brand new computer lab. And I just didn't have the energy to work on all those cords and put them where they belonged and tie them up because I was worried about him and his comment. So I said, I would like for you, I said this to the student, I would like for you to tie up the cords for me and put some energy back into me and let me get on with my other things, my lesson planning that I need to do, and you can tie up the cords for me. So he immediately went to work, and I was amazed at what a great job he did. During that time, I carried on a little conversation with him, asking him things, trying to get to know him, because I know that if I have a problem student, I need to build a relationship with that student. And I wanted him to know me better, and I wanted to know him better. And so we chatted as he tied up the cords and I worked at my desk. At the end of the hour that he was scheduled to be there, he came up to me and said, I noticed I didn't get very far. There's a lot to do here. May I come back tomorrow? Well, I was shocked. I had planned for him to come back, but I was going to do the asking. And instead, he volunteered to come back. So he came back the next day. He worked another hour. This was a big job. And so he came back. He worked really hard. We had some more conversation. And he still wasn't finished. He had about 5 more computers to go. And And he came up to me and he said, "Mrs. Downs, I would like to finish the entire lab for you. May I come back on Friday?" And so he came back, and within a half hour he had finished the job, did a beautiful job, and we developed a relationship that lasted the entire school year. I never had another problem with him. And the interesting thing is, I didn't have problems with any of the other students, because the word got out that if you create a problem in Mrs. Downs' class, you will be asked to fix it. And so I found that it created more teaching time for me, and I was able then to do what I had been trained as an educator. I was able to teach, and that's what I love to do. I love to teach.
Oh, excelente. Gracias por compartir esta información con nosotros, y adelante con su amor y lógica y con sus padres y sus compañeros de trabajo.
Well, thank you for letting me share.
Un placer.